Hi there, and welcome to this tutorial series on modeling a pistol in Fusion 360. We're going to be working on the Sig Sauer P320 pistol. I took these photos at my friendly neighborhood gun store, which is one of the advantages of living in Texas. I shot these with my camera phone, so there are going to be some very minor issues with like some perspective distortion that you can kind of see around the edges here. But I included in the photos a matchbook, which I've taken out in Photoshop. So I was able to get a consistent relative scale for all of the photos. The matchbook was 50 millimeters on the long side. So I made it so that all of the 50 millimeter dimensions from each photo line up with each other. And that made it really easy to go ahead and make sure that the relative scale of all the photos was consistent. So this group photo here has been broken into individual photos, like this one here. Let me scale this in just a little bit. And what you can tell, this is actually the right side, but I flipped it. And the reason that I flipped it is so that it lines up perfectly with the left side, so that I can use the same canvas in Fusion 360 to go ahead and if I'm working on the right side, I can load this image, and if I'm working on the left side, I can use this image, and I don't have to worry about having a whole bunch of extra stuff of setting up the second canvas. So let's go ahead and begin working on setting up our canvases here. The first thing I'm going to do is actually create a new component. Now, I could work the entire project here in the root node, but I like using components because it will help organize our construction history and sort of just keep things a little bit more efficient and easy to look through and find stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and right click where it says Pistol V1 here and select New Component. And we'll go ahead and we can just rename this one Slide. Now, when you're doing this, you want to make sure it doesn't really matter for Fusion, but down the road, it might cause more of an issue. Make sure that you don't put any spaces in your names, just as a general rule. So I'm going to go ahead and click this little circle here next to Activate Component, and then that'll basically turn on the component. And we will go to Insert, Attached Canvas, and then I'm going to go ahead and load this this first reference image here. So this is where it says right here. That's how we know this is our side plane. So I'm going to click that as our face. Here in Select Image, I'm going to go ahead and grab side left and rotate it 90 degrees, or negative 90, I suppose, so that it is oriented correctly there. I'm going to hit OK. And now I'm going to open up my Slide 1 component, go to Canvases, and then right-click and select Calibrate. So what this will allow me to do is click this little point here and this point over here, type in 50 millimeters, and it'll scale the image up to the proper size. So, if you wanted to 3D print an object, this is an excellent way to make sure that you're, from the beginning of the project, you're working in a accurate scale. Let's go ahead and add another canvas here. So I'll go to Insert, Attach Canvas. And for this, we'll use the front plane. Go to Select Image, and I will grab Front, hit OK. And I'm going to hide my original side left here so I can get, okay, so the orientation there is correct. So I can hit OK. And now I'm going to go and hit Calibrate. And zoom in a little bit. And click our 2 points. And type 50 millimeters. So if everything has gone according to plan, everything should line up perfectly. So we don't have to worry about kind of moving things around too much. So to make it so that I can see through these, I'm going to go ahead and right click, go to Edit Canvas, turn on Display Through, and set the opacity for both of them to 75. So again, that's Edit Canvas, turn Display Through on, and go ahead and set the opacity to 75. So we're getting a little Z fighting there, but that's not going to be too much of an issue. We'll probably only be using one plane at a time as we're actually working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the other reference images. and save the file. And in the next lesson, we'll talk about how to actually load the files, the Fusion 3D files, and we'll have all of our reference set up and ready to go.